Hi, I'm the incorrect announcer, and you're listening to the Tennapads for Men Advisory podcast, as recommended by our own semi-incontinent co-hosts, Adam and Steve. Keep on gaming, and keep yourself dry down there, boys.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Welcome back, guys, to the world's best arcade podcast. And this month, we've got a very special guest, as well as the co-host, Shaun Holly, Whitney from the Broken Token podcast. How you doing, guys?
Oh, gentlemen, you all are too kind. Doing great from here across the pond. It's amazing that this all coordinates and is working as well as it is. One thing I'll say is the incorrect announcer guy. He's solid gold. I need to hire him here in Kentucky. Is what I need to do. Shaun,
awesome.
Do you have like his agent's info or what?
Yeah, I can get it. Is very busy, as you can understand. But yeah, it's busy insulting other people and getting it incorrect.
I'm going to send you a message. I need to talk to this guy.
Right, just a bit of sad news. I think it's I've got a strange sort of sadness about this. The original 10 Pence Arcade podcast site, which is 10pencearcade.co.uk, and all the podcasts therein, it's gone because if it wasn't paying, because it refused to pay the prices, and there's just ridiculous prices, and they were like stopping us seeing our own stats, and that charging us for our own stats, and then started charging us for extra bandwidth, and in the end he just said enough is enough, so he stopped paying, and it looks like the contracts just ran out because he's getting bombarded. Oh, sir, you can sort of reinstate your website. You just got to do this, and this. But it's coming up with an error. An error. Suspended page. So that's the end of 10pence.co.uk. So run the blue pence now, kids. Set your sights to blue pence.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Is okay. I think he's okay. We'll find out a bit later on.
Yeah. Well, so you don't have an actual website. We don't have a website anymore. You have a Facebook page, don't we?
No, yeah, we've got a website, 10pencearcade.com.
Yeah.
And on there, the first page is the next show's game and the previous show's game and that lot. And below that is a list of the podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's two more tabs that I've put in. There's the high scores, so you can see the high score table, the current high score table, and the images that we put in as well, what the listeners have put in as well. So I've included them. So it's a proper website. It's all awesome. It's all done through Podbean. So
that's all we need. That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of a bolt-on kind of thing, but yeah.
So cool. So, well, guys, what you been up to? Whitney, what have you been up to? You've been quiet of late.
Yeah, I have been pretty quiet. I've been tending to life, traveling for work.
Yeah.
That never stops. So that's just part of the equation right now. So, love my work, love my job. So very fortunate, but it does have some time requirements that go along with it. But that's all good. But gaming wise, I have actually picked up a couple of cabarets that I am super stoked about. Yes. I know everybody can't see the finger work right there, but I am so happy with the finger work. Just kind of wringing my hands in excitement. So I picked up a Asteroids Deluxe cabaret,
nice.
And it needs a little bit of work. I've got it here in the workshop so that it can get some attention here at some point. And then, Alex, one thing that I've been talking with you about for a bit is I have got the bits for a Robotron Cabaret, and I am slowly but surely getting everything together to where I can assemble a Robotron Cabaret. And gentlemen, I will say I am over the moon on being able to do a Robotron Cabaret. I know this sounds weird, but I've actually dreamt about getting this cabaret done so I can play it. I mean, that's how excited I am to get this thing done. So
yeah, mate. I've as you know, I just recently got rid of my full-size upright. For a cabaret Robotron, and I have no regrets. I absolutely love it. I think plays just as well, if not better for me, because as you know, I've got a very weak right arm after breaking it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier for me to play because I end up fighting Robotron quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And I've just been on this kick for about the past year to year and a half to downsize my collection and sell off just a lot of stuff that I don't need or want anymore.
Yeah.
And then replace a lot of the games with cabarets just for space consideration. But as I have gone down this path, I actually like them a lot better. And
Yeah.
I should have been on this kick years ago, quite honestly. I've been missing the boat.
It's just a shame a lot of companies didn't make more of them, I think.
Agreed.
Because there's a lot of games I would love as a cabaret more than the upright, to be honest.
Amen. Yeah, 100%, 100%. And then I'll wrap it up with just saying that right now I am talking to someone about potentially grabbing a Dig Dug cabaret. We'll have to see if that goes. I've always enjoyed that game, and I've never ever had one in full size form. But I don't know. It may work out, and if it doesn't, then that's fine. It wasn't meant to be, but we'll see. And then Alex and Shaun, I am still hunting for my Astro Blaster, and I'm not giving up on that. But I want an Astro Blaster, something bad, and I'm trying my hardest to find one, put my hands on one. Difficult game to get.
Yeah, well, I've got the cabaret version.
And it's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you seen one in America, a cabaret version of that game?
No. So in America, the only two versions of that game that I have ever seen are one that is in a white laminate cabinet, and the marquee and the control panel are kind of like a teal green color.
Yeah. And
then the other one that I have seen, again, full size upright, it has wood grain as the sides, and then it has a darker kind of royal blue marquee and monitor bezel and control panel. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm big on aesthetics, so I actually want the wood grain and the blue because I really like that blue. But I don't know. At this point, I'd be happy just to land one, quite honestly. But that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Good stuff, man. What about the podcast? Do you think you're going to make a return to that soon, or has that just been put on the back burner for a bit?
Mate, we will. I mean, it's not done until Brent and I say it's done, and we're not saying it's done. I think, I think probably the best way to approach that or to talk about that is that, we both had some pretty serious life events pop up. I mean, with me during COVID, Alex, I've talked to you. You and I've talked about that a whole lot. With my father and everything like that. And then Brent actually wound up having. I had some medical issues after COVID, and then Brent has had some medical challenges as well. And we've just really kind of put the mics on hiatus for a bit while I was sorting and he was sorting, and he's doing a lot better now. But we've also, I think, this year been pursuing some other interests and everything like that. I know he has, and to some degree I have as well. But we've got 2 episodes in the can, actually, and I'm hoping that I'll get those released within the next maybe 2 to 3 weeks, 2 weeks or so. I'm gonna tell myself 2 weeks so that I can get them. It's just gonna be purely around my work travel as to when I can get them finished up and get them posted. And then after that, I think Brent and I just need to reconvene and say, how do we want to approach a schedule? Because I think the thing that was really cooking us towards the end of the run up through COVID and everything is we had been going strong and extremely consistent for over 8 years, hardly ever missing an episode. And we put a lot of time and effort into our show notes and the content and the interviews and everything. And after 8 years,
us.
What's that?
Unlike us.
Yeah.
No, we put a lot in. We put a lot in.
You do. I mean, guys, I'm looking at your own show notes. got going on.
Yeah.
But Alex, it's one of those things where it's like every month it rotated around, and we just get one out and then have to start the next one. And man, I think it just kind of started to take a toll on us, quite honestly, from a time commitment. And I think we've just got to figure out a way to do it a little differently. So, but again, it's not done till we call it done.
It is a commitment because, I mean, like, you know, tonight I'm not feeling very well at all. I've gone down with something. I'm sweating buckets here. I've got the flu or something. It just happened today. Yeah, and I just thought, well, if I don't do this tonight, I'm in London all next week, so it's not going to happen. So I've got to do it. So I'm digging deep tonight, guys.
We appreciate it, bro. I know where you're coming from.
But you know, when you come back, you'll have a lot to talk about because, of course, you came over to England, didn't you? You did the Sky Skipper event. You had a lovely holiday over here in the UK as well as in Europe. So much to talk about. Yeah, so much. Can't wait to hear it on your podcast.
Yeah, the good thing is I've been keeping notes, so it won't be a stretch to like pull everything back up and to talk, you know, and to bring things current again. So we'll certainly make it happen. We'll certainly make it happen. Yeah.
The podcast, by the way, is a Broken Token podcast. In case our listeners don't know, Broken Token.
Oh yeah, just Broken Token, and there's 8+ years of content there to go back and listen to. So I mean, and I would, you know, I mean, being my own worst critique, I mean, I think based on like the interviews that we've had and everything like that, it's a good listen. You know, the first year or so might have been a little rough because we were kind of finding our feet and everything, but the show definitely had a really, really good following, and I don't want to say we're done, not by any stretch. So, but I certainly appreciate everybody checking it out. All the episodes are up. There's no paywall or anything like that. They are all free and will remain to be that way.
Awesome. So, Shaun, what have you been up to, my friend?
One word. 7 letters. Pinfest! I'm into Pinfest! Oh, I love my pinballs now.
Nice.
I'm reliving my youth round. I was well into them in my like early 20s when they were like in the pubs and clubs in Blackburn. So I really enjoyed it. And just 2 days of just solid pinball. And what I'm doing now, because you get on a game that there's so many really good players. It's all very like polite. You can queue up and then get a game, then you queue up and get a game. But I was getting on with 2 good players, 2 excellent players, and they were playing for 5 minutes on a ball. Honestly, being so good, I was getting on it like 28 seconds to the back of the queue. So, but oh god, it's for people saying it's a lot of luck. I think there's a tiny bit of luck, but when you learn the tables, I'm trying to learn one specific table now called 8-Ball Deluxe, which I loved in it. Just playing it and playing it, just getting used to how it. I know it's only a virtual table, so it's not going to be the same, but you get to know the rules and the layout of the table, and it's like an arcade game. The more you play it, a single table, the better you get. Like with Pinfest, I was like flitting from 1 to 1 to 1 to 1 because I just wanted to play them all, especially the new ones. But they are like arcade games. The more you play them, the better you get. But yeah, I've been to Pinfest, a couple of family meals. What else have I been doing? Oh yeah, I've been enjoying my techno music creating hobby. I'm still doing it. All you need now is a drum machine, a MIDI keyboard, and some software, Ableton Live. It's all you need to make some beautiful, atmospheric, repetitive, rhythmic, melodic techno music, which I'm doing.
Oh.
But yeah.
Shaun, can you share some of what you've created? Because I love that type of music.
Do you?
I do. Oh yes.
I'll have to send you some. I've got loads of older stuff and a bit of new stuff. You will love it. Let's stop this podcast now and just put 10 hours of music on.
I'm fine. that would be good. I would enjoy it.
Yes, that's it. What else have I been doing? That's it. Well, when you say your bit, Alex, I just want to comment on one of the things that I've seen. Go on. Sorry.
What did you want to comment on?
The Williams Hyperball, when you went to Gav's meet, there was something called Hyperball, and it looked like it was a pinball that fired.
Oh yeah,
I tell you what,
It looked amazing.
Oh yeah. I don't know how many balls are in it, but it's crazy.
It's just like a shooting game, but pinball.
Well, do you remember that game you had as a kid called Rebound? Do you remember that?
No.
Mm-mm.
So you had a gun at each end. It was a kid's game. You had a gun at each end.
Oh yeah,
and you had
I do.
And you had a marble or ball bearing in a plastic circle. The ball bearing sat in this plastic circle, and you had 10 ball bearings each. You put them all in the gun, pull the trigger, and you try and shoot this little ball bearing with a plastic circle around it into the other guy's goal. And
yes,
you have to quickly
that.
reclaim your ball bearings and then get it back again. Whoever was the quickest. It feels a little bit like that. It's very frantic. And to be honest, I wasn't really sure what was going on, but that's the same for most pinballs with me. I just hit stuff.
That wasn't a traditional pinball, though, was it? It was a sort of a hybrid thing.
Well, it's got all the sounds of the Williams sounds. So you've got all the kind of Defender, the Robotron sound effects, which is super cool. Really is cool. I love all that. But it's a very loud pinball, as you can imagine, with all those ball bearings going everywhere. It's crazy. Have you played it, Whitney?
I have played it a few times, and it feels more like a skill shot type of game, where more so than it does like rote pinball to me. I don't know how much staying power it would have in a collection, but you want to talk about unique. I mean, it's definitely that, and it's almost like firing like a BB gun or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think in an arcade situation, it's good for a few games, but in a private collection, I think you'd probably soon get quite bored of it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
It's like that pong thing. It will never catch on.
No.
Guys, I just looked it up, and Hyperball uses 55 balls.
Oh, wow.
55 balls.
55 balls is what's going on there. Yeah, it's crazy.
So that must be an early 80s pinball, if you call it a pinball.
Yeah, I'd have to look up. Let me look up the exact details on it. But yeah, 55 balls, and it feels like they're all in motion at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was at Gav's meet, which I went to yesterday. It was an extremely long day because I left at 7 o'clock in the morning to get there for 9 o'clock to film a game room tour. But the day went so quick. We had so much fun, and Gav has got such an amazing collection. He really has. I mean, some games that I haven't seen since I was 7, 8 years old. So I was super excited about going there yesterday. So one of the games I was really excited to see was Atari's Night Driver in the fiberglass. I think they did make uprights, but it's the fiberglass cabinet that I remember. It's a bit like, Star Wars. Everyone remembers sitting down in the cockpit, all that nostalgia comes flooding back. For me, with Night Driver, it's that fiberglass cabinet sitting there. And do you know what, guys? I couldn't believe how playable it was. It was so much fun. Everyone was having a go on it. You think it's quite an early game. I think it's 1976. So basically, it's a driving game. You sit in there. You've got 4 gears, accelerator, and your car is basically a plastic stick in the middle of the screen. There is no graphics for your car. It is literally a plastic stick with a car over the top. But the road is depicted.
You see the bonnet, don't you? Did you see the bonnet of it?
The bonnet of the car. That's
it. Yeah. We call it the moon.
Yes,
you're right. That's
but that's not moving. It's just the road that's moving. The road just does this, and they're very quick turns. You've got to really spin that wheel. It's a Twitch driving game, but oh my god, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun, and you're up against a timer, so it's how far you can get within the allocated time that you're given. And it was a great game, so fantastic to see that. He had a little French consulate, I think it was, so like a French wall-mounted cabinet. I've never seen anything like it. tiny. You know, I don't know how big the screen was, maybe 8 inches, 10 inches, if that. And it was running Space Invaders, but I think originally it was a breakout cabinet. That was quite unusual. Spy Hunter, great to see a working Spy Hunter. You don't see many of them in the wild. Now, this is what I love. He had a Hypersports, Konami Hypersports, running the is it the rearranged kit. Is that right, Whitney? I think
I think it is. Was it the kit from High Score Saves? Because
yes.
I think that's what that does. Yeah.
So get this, right? So you only need the Hypersports board. It's a kit, a mod. I think there's a bit of soldering involved to get the kit on there. It's probably something that I couldn't do, but once it's on there, it plays track and field events and Hypersports events alternating. So you'll do the 100 meters and then you'll do the swimming from Hypersports. So it mixes it all up, and there's so much. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. We had such a blast on it yesterday. The only thing I noticed and what I heard was there was some screen tearing, because I thought with a lot of these high score kits, there's always a little bug of some sort, isn't there? They're never quite perfectly running.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah,
that's been my experience too.
Yeah.
There's always a hitch with them. It feels.
Yeah,
like.
There's always something. But you know what? There's a little bit of screen tearing on the side of the screen, maybe about less than 5 millimeters, but it's only on a couple of events. And you know what? I can live with that. And to be honest, when we were playing it, we didn't notice it. It was only when you're watching someone else play, you're looking at the whole screen, aren't you? So you could actually notice it then. But other than that, I thought it was great. I've got to get that kit. It's so good, honestly. It's so much fun. It's such a great party game. So, yes, Gav's Meet was amazing. Some fantastic games. I know I'm going to miss loads out, but I haven't got enough time to mention them all. But it was great to see everybody. You know, the usual guys, all the UKVACers. They're such a lovely bunch. I've got to say a huge thank you to Gav and his wife for hosting, because it was an amazing day. So, yeah, great day. What else have I been up to? I'll go through this quick because, it's going to take a while, this podcast. I can see it coming.
I'm going to send it to Vic and say, Vic, do you fancy some editing, just for old time's sake?
No,
He'll love it. He'll love it.
As raw as you like.
Yeah.
I've been in the garden, actually. I've been laying some herringbone brickwork. Do you know what that is, Whitney? I know you've been doing a bit of brickwork recently as well.
I have, yes. I have. I've been working on a retaining wall, actually. So
yes.
So Alex, I know the pattern that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know what a herringbone pattern is, but I've never. I'm probably not thinking about it in the same way that you're working on it.
Yeah. So now normally I lay herringbone with second-hand reclaimed bricks because they look nice. We've got an old country house. You've seen it, Whitney. It's an old cottage. But you've seen it, Shaun, as well. Thatched roof.
Yeah, really nice.
So we don't want anything too modern. Beautiful. It's got to look quite traditional, quite old. But the troubles I had a pipe that was running underneath where I wanted to lay this herringbone. So I only had so much distance, and a full-size brick wasn't going to fit. So I had to get these brick slips, which are only like 20 mil thick. And I bought loads of them, and they were so brittle. Half of them just broke, literally, as I was picking them up. So they were an absolute nightmare to work with, and they were soaking wet, so they were floating around on the mortar. But I did it, I've done it all, and I finished it today. I've jointed it all, and it looks amazing. Bought Nush out. She absolutely loved it. So it's another nice little place to sit outside the games room, next to the pond, feed the koi and just have a little drinky poo,
So the herrings, does it like real bones? But they'll get crushed. What when they get like proper crushed?
Well, I'll tell you what, if a herring does come down here again to my pond, it will just be bones, Shaun, because I'll kill that bloody thing. It's killed about 3 of my koi fish, and I'll wring its bloody neck if I see it again.
But you can
grind its bones.
You can grind that up and put it. Is it like cement, herringbone cement? Is it that what it is?
No, it's just a pattern, Shaun.
Is it? All right.
Right, moving on quickly. Tony Riccardi, good friend of mine, Tony McCarty, came over to my arcade. We had a fantastic night. You might have seen him on my other channel. He's Ghosts and Goblins high score world champion or whatever, but we had a fantastic night in my arcade, and we played Hyperdyne Sidearms, and ended up with Arcade Hand, Shaun. It's one of those games. It's very addictive. It's Capcom. It's a fantastic horizontal shooter, but oh my god, you know, I could have done with an auto fire for that game. Have you played it?
Yeah, it's you can reverse fire, can't you, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
it's good, isn't it?
It's got the amount of speed ups that you can get. If you keep getting them, you just, it's uncontrollable. The guy is uncontrollable with the speed ups. I don't know why they do that, but yeah, it's decent. It's decent.
Have you covered it on the podcast?
Hyperdynes? No, we haven't.
Ooh, there we go.
That could be a future one, couldn't it?
Could be one, definitely. Other than that, I went to see Alien, the new Alien film, Romulus.
Oh yeah, is that any good?
Well, without giving you any spoilers, I thought it was actually brilliant. If you liked Alien and Aliens, somewhere in between.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind any of the Alien films except 4. I thought 3 was really good. Wasn't so keen on 4. And the latest ones that he did, Covenant, is it? And what's the other one? Prometheus.
Prometheus, yeah. Yep.
Prometheus was okay, but it got a bit too complicated, and I don't think it needs to be that. I think at the end of the day, it's a horror film, and this new film is a brilliant horror film. I mean, you're going to get people, the Alien fans, going, "Oh, you know, it wasn't scary enough." Well, the trouble is, right, with a film like that, we know the alien, we know the environment it lives in, we know its weaknesses. It's very hard for any director to shock or have any suspense around a film like that, because it's been shown so many times. And I think they did a great job in creating suspense and a few really good jumpy moments. So if you haven't seen it, I'll totally recommend it.
I have not seen it, but I would certainly, I'll be looking forward to seeing it for sure. So
yeah.
I'm a big fan of the franchise. I've always loved it. And you mentioned Prometheus. I thought Prometheus was interesting because it gave a bit of an origin story, I guess.
Yeah.
So I like that. But yeah, I think the whole franchise is great.
Yeah, me too.
Right, we've got some. Victor's started his Tinkering's blog up, where he's been doing Famicom carts and all sorts of stuff, but he's changed it from Blogspot to Substack. So I'll put a link in the no shows for his Substack, and that's a really good. It's like a Facebook kind of environment where you scroll down, but it's all creative people. It's like artists and musicians and illustrators and music and that. It's really clever. So Vic's at his home there, but it's we locked him in an Iron Maiden the other week.
Yeah, is he still there?
Well, yeah, because he sent me this message.
Lads, hello. Are you going to let me out of this Iron Maiden soon? Surely it should be an Iron Brew Maiden if I'm Scotland anyway. I mean, I've been here for a while. I'm getting a bit peckish. Maybe a nice sandwich or a packet of Werther's Originals, they do nicely. And how about a nice cup of coffee? I haven't had a coffee for an hour. Oh, goodness sake, I've got tinkering to do. Come on.
Well, sorry.
Just chucking some breadcrumbs, Shaun. This stain there.
What was your diet? Sap,
What?
Dust and tree sap, was it last time?
Oh, my diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, dust and tree sap, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think it's wood. Yeah, dust or wood shaving, something like that.
I guarantee you lose weight. Guaranteed.
Well, yeah, Vic's been a bit ill. Like he's hurt his arm and he's got tennis elbow and he's hurt his leg as well at the same time. So he's not in a good way.
Oh, man.
So I hope he gets well soon.
Yeah, love to Vic.
Yeah, love to Vic.
Yeah, much love. I'll have to reach out to him and wish him best. I wasn't aware of that.
He's got tennis elbow and cricket leg. Something
Is
like
that arcade related or?
No. He did something to his leg. What was his arm? His ears. Something's wrong with Vic.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's the Iron Maiden, isn't it?
Yeah, he's stuck
If
in
you've
there.
ever been in an
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, it's not good for your body.
Yeah, some good news for us UK people who couldn't get Cheez-Its. I've been getting them from people that have gone over to America, like Mr. Funk, and delivering them to us, the Cheez-Its. There's really cheesy kind of square pieces of goodness which wife eats and I don't get any. There's Cheez-Its in the UK. There's Cheez-Its in the UK now. They're called snapped versions though. They're like a bit more wafery and they're a bit more kind of not as solid as a normal Cheez-It. But we've got them in the UK now and they're in normal supermarkets, kids. So there you go. Me and Vic have been on about them for years and now the problem has been solved. You don't have to go on that plane again and go to America and load your suitcase up with Cheez-Its and then leave all your clothes in the departure lounge. Yes.
I don't eat cheese, Shaun, so I don't care for that.
These are Cheez-Its.
No cheese on them. What are they called?
There'll be a bit. Hence the name. Right, we better stop messing around. Pickup. Sorry, Alex. What pickups have you got?
Podcast pickups.
I have been picking up a few Mega Drive games of late. I'm not going to go mad and have a collection like I used to have, but I just want some of my favourites and some of the more quirkier games that I never got around to playing. So I picked up Undead Line. It's a shoot 'em up. So I want most of the shmups for the Mega Drive.
Oh yeah.
This is one I've been after for quite a while. It's not a cheap one, mind, but it is a fantastic game. If you haven't played it, definitely worth checking out. Bare Knuckle 2, which is Streets of Rage 2. You played this one?
No.
You never played Streets of Rage 2?
Mega Drive? No, I missed that.
It's probably one of the best side-scrolling beat-em-ups ever made, with a fantastic soundtrack. And some MVS games. Loads of my MVS collection. I know you are, Whitney, as well.
Oh, yes.
Haven't we?
Yeah.
So we got the shot boxes, didn't we, from Southtown?
Yes.
They arrived safely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Finally
Have
came
you
in.
got all the artwork for them yet?
I do, yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, now I just need to find all the cartridges for all the boxes that I bought.
Yeah, that's the hard part.
I think I went about this backwards.
Well, do you know what? I kind of did the same because I got the shop boxes and I've got the artwork for the games I want to get. Okay, so the boxes are there waiting for the games.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not buying anything else. I'm just getting the games that I've already got the art and the box for. So I managed to bag Twinkle Star Sprites, which, pretty reasonable as well. Whitney, it wasn't expensive as you think. It was pretty reasonable from my good friend Al.
Yeah.
I wasn't that bothered by it in the beginning because I thought I'm never going to pay that much for a game. There's no way. But when he said, "Oh, you can have it for 300 quid," I thought, okay, that's not too bad. I've seen him go for twice as much as that. And it is a good little vertical shooter. So it's got the screen split into two, so you can play two-player. And it's more complicated than I can explain here because I haven't really delved that much into it. But basically, you shoot stuff, and it basically has an effect on the other opponent's screen. So it's a good little shoot 'em up. I'm really looking forward to playing that. Nam 1975, which is a very early release, I believe, for the Neo Geo. It's kind of like a crosshair shooting game, which I quite like, a bit like Wild Guns on the Super Nintendo. And I picked up a side-scrolling beat-em-up, Mutation Nation. Great name. I mean, just the name, man.
Just the name alone, yes.
I've got to have Mutation Nation. It's so cool. Yeah, and that's about it. A few little pickups there.
I just got a PC style game controller. Really for the console stuff. It's I don't really play much console stuff, but when I do, it's nice having a PC controller with the thumbsticks. They call it a PC controller where the thumbsticks are on the same level, instead of like a Xbox 360 where the one at the left thumbstick is a bit higher than the right one. Do you know what I mean? on them. So they call it a PC controller. So I've got one of them, and that's all I've picked up. I've picked up some happy times and lovely food and smiles and love.
How do you pick a smile up?
You can just smile at people.
Actually,
what made my
Whitney?
day the other day, I went for a run around the reservoir, and there was a little girl and her mum putting the bin out, and they both smiled and waved. And it's just sometimes that just makes your day, like strangers. Yeah, I had knocked the bin over though. I hadn't really though. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah.
Anyway. The small things in life, mate, makes you happy.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah. Have you picked up anything, Whitney?
Let's see. I did have a couple of Kickstarter projects that I backed. Actually, ship what I purchased like a year to a year and a half ago. Which it's funny with Kickstarter, you pledge, you pay, and then you forget it even exists. And then maybe it shows up, maybe it doesn't. But yeah, so I did have a couple of Kickstarter deliveries come in, and I'm sitting here thinking if there's anything else. I did get. Let's see. I did get a copy of got a Metal Slug 4 MVS card.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah. So that is one thing that I did put my hands on. Actually, Metal Slug 4 and Metal Slug 2.
Brilliant! They're good games.
Yep. So I'm now outstanding 3X and 5. 3X and 5. There is a Metal Slug 6, isn't there?
No.
I think is there not? It's on different hardware, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah, that's what I thought it was on different hardware, but I've never played 6. I just read about it somewhere, I think.
Do you know where I played it? On the DS. It was released on the DS.
Was it? Okay.
Metal Slug 6. That's where I played it.
Gotcha,
but I don't think it didn't get an MVS release.
Yeah, it did not. It did not.
No.
But one Kickstarter that I just backed today, it just closed today. We're recording on Sunday, the 15th, and it was Shadow Gang 0. And so I pledged MVS tier on that. So in some point in 25 or 26, I'll get another MVS card. So, but yeah, Alex, I'm pretty high on the MVS stuff, man. So
mate, I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Send me a list over, and I'll keep a lookout for you.
I appreciate that, mate. Thank you.
Yeah,
I can do that.
Cool.
Right, next section. Here we go. This is where we asked Mr. Roberts to make a special guest appearance of Broken Token and Sky Skipper fame.
I hope I'm worth the trouble, guys.
These are questions written by Mr. Crowley for yourself. So do you want to ask him, Alex?
Well, we could take it in turns. How about that?
That'd be lovely.
Yeah. So you go first, then, Mr. Holly.
Are you active in any pinball tournaments in your local area, sir?
So, despite my desire to play in pinball tournaments, the answer to that is no, not right now. I mean, there are a few that rotate around some locations close to me. There's a couple of, I guess, kind of pin bars or barcades or family entertainment centers, whatever term you want to use for that. I don't know what you guys would call them there in the UK, but here it's essentially a bar that has a bunch of pinball machines off to the side and a few arcade games and things like that. So they'll host tournaments, but honestly, guys, I mean, with my work schedule and the fact that I live in a rural area, I mean, I live in a very rural area, like away from the city, and it means that travel would be involved for me to go play in all these tournaments, and they're usually like 4 hours long when they tournament and when they compete, and man, it just doesn't work with my schedule, unfortunately. So I wish I had a better answer for you guys, and I could give you like all kinds of tournament insight, but I don't. It'll probably be one of those things I do once I retire here in a few years.
Yeah. That's cool, mate. Now, the next question, I mean, I already know the answer to this because I've listened to your podcast for so long.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
I know the answer to this. Do pinballs take a lot of maintenance? But this is really for the people who haven't listened to your podcast, which hopefully they will do now.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, and it's a great question because I think that the maintenance angle, might be a bit of a barrier for people, but the answer there is it depends on the era, but yes, it's just that some era machines take more and take different maintenance or have different maintenance requirements than others. I mean, if you've got an early electromechanical game from from the 60s or early 70s or something like that, there's no quote unquote solid state electronics, like no computer circuit boards in it or anything like that. It runs purely on mechanical interaction and coordination, and that's a certain skill set that it takes, and they require maintenance. But the more modern games, your solid state games, and of course the mod, I consider the late model or late era games. I would say like anything from Stern Pinball or Jersey Jack or Spooky Pinball, American Pinball, Chicago, all of those other manufacturers. That's all from like 2012 on upwards. Thinking about that, they're mostly computer driven, but you still have a steel ball flying around at a high rate of speed, and it still hits everything, underneath that field. And there's wear and there's maintenance that you have to do. But if you are mechanically minded and common tools, you can do the maintenance yourself. It's not that it's difficult. You just have to dig into it.
Because you'd think like the early EMs, when you look at them, they might have more moving parts, but it is literally just a playing field. They've still got the same amount of moving parts, if not more, in a modern pin, haven't they? With all the gadgets.
They'll have more than what's in a modern pin because, from the modern pin perspective, it's of course, whatever's on top of the playfield. Maybe there's a couple of motors that drive a few, like playfield features or something like that, and then of course, the flipper coils and all that. But you flip a modern pinball machine playfield up and look at the bottom, and a lot of it is printed circuit boards, like computer circuit boards that are interleaved in between all the mechanics. And there's really, outside of like, let's say unfasten, replace, refasten, or like periodic, maintenance, just like cleaning things and keeping, everything kind of tip top. There's not really a tremendous amount to do. If your flipper coils go bad, you take and put new ones on. So if you're pretty good at like replacing stuff, then you can do a lot of modern pinball maintenance yourself with really no special training. But if you're going to get into like the pinball machines of the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, then you need to know a lot more like electronics. You need to have more electronics knowledge in order to maintain them, because they're simpler, but they don't have like all the automations and all the computer control going on. There's some, but nowhere near what you see today. So it depends on the era, but can anybody do it? Heck yeah, anybody can do it. All it takes is just some determination, a multimeter, and a few common hand tools. And just don't work on it while it's plugged in and turned on, so you don't kill yourself. But other than that,
good idea.
Anybody can do it.
Shaun.
Next question. Yeah, I plug stuff in and lick anode caps and all sorts. Me.
Put jam on it as well.
I thought a Jamaloon was actually made of jam, but I know it's not now. Obviously, that would be silly. Is the theme of a pinball really important? What do you think? The theme, like we've recently had Jaws, Pulp Fiction, Elton John, all them kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say, and if I'm going to be honest about answering this question, then I'd say the theme is an absolute. It's an absolute necessity to connect to the theme in order to really enjoy the game. So yes, theme really is that important. Now, there are veterans, pinball veterans that probably have been playing for 20, 30 years, or maybe they're tournament players, and they look at it as a series of rules and a series of shots and ways to exploit the rules to maximize their score and things like that. And then theme is probably secondary to how the game actually plays. But let's take the other 99% of the fan base that modern pinball companies are trying to appeal to, like home collectors and casual players, and the folks that play like out in the bars and stuff like that. Oh man, theme is what draws you in and really compels you to drop, here in the States, drop quarters in, or for you guys, drop your 10Ps in play. So yes, I think it is immensely important to connecting to the game and enjoying the game.
Because what I can see from it is that, I mean, I'm no pinball expert, but what I can see from it is a pinball playfield can only really do so much.
That's right.
And really, aren't most pinballs the same game but just reskinned with a new theme?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so if you had a Jaws, and you went out and bought a new Jaws pinball, you got it home, and you've got another pinball from, say, 5 years ago, and you realise, oh, man, this is the same game, just with another reskinned. Does that happen, or can they create a more depth in the game with the more digital way that they're going with pinballs?
Yeah. So
is that how they do it?
Yeah, it's a very fair question, because if you look at pinball machines aligned in a row, and if you were to take a casual stroll down that row of pinball machines and look at them, you would say, wow, these are all the same game with just different art, different colors, different layout, but objectively it looks like the same game. And I think that used to be true, especially like back in the 70s and probably early 80s, maybe even through the mid 80s to some degree. But Alex, Shaun, as the digital portion of either the game control or the complexity of the rules or the interactivity of the game, all of which has increased over the past 10 to 15 years, I mean, just by an order of magnitude, these games now, I mean, pinball now is almost infinitely complex, and I would say that the mechanics of the games are similar, but if you dig into the games themselves, they're nothing alike, because each one has a story. And what a lot of people may not realize is that when you're shooting the pinball, you're actually playing as an avatar. That pinball is the protagonist in the story, and so you're shooting the ball around the field, trying to accomplish things in the story. Like, okay, I need to hit this target first, and then that activates a multiplier on this ramp shot. And if I do these 4 things in order, then it kicks me to another mode, and I advance in the game. Yeah. So if you can take the time to, I guess, kind of drop yourself into the story of the game, then you'll understand that it's using a lot of the same mechanics, but organized and let's say programmed in different ways to achieve a walkthrough on a given story. So pinball is addictive. It is very addictive, and I love it. I truly love it. But it takes time, And Shaun, to your point earlier about like 8-Ball Deluxe, you really have to learn a table in order to truly appreciate what it offers.
Yeah. And there's the favorite everyone goes on about, and I love it as well, is Godzilla.
Oh yes.
And that is like a minor kind of license, really, but the way they've put it together with the story and all the old black and white Japanese cartoon video in the background, Mothra is attacking, and it's very atmospheric, it's very well laid out, and that is, you wouldn't have thought a license in that, but it's just so good, that table, and the theme 100% helps that. But it's not a famous, no one would have thought of licensing Godzilla a few years ago maybe, but no. yeah
I mean, there's certainly a lot of themes that spring to my mind that I would love to see on pinball tables, like the Benny Hill show.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine how the brilliance?
I mean, can you
of
imagine
that?
it? Benny
Oh.
Hill with Hill's Angels all behind him
Oh
on the
my
back
gosh!
glass.
Oh,
It'd be
Alex,
amazing.
how much do we joke about Benny Hill together? I mean, and you know I'm a fan. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be all for that. Oh, I love
Mate,
it.
I
Yeah.
told you the story. He used to film in our school. I
Yeah.
used to see him all the time in Tenton Studios. I went to Tenton School, so they used our school as a film studio.
Wow.
You know, teacher used to say, oh, he's out there again filming, and we'd see him running around slapping the bald bloke on the back of the head. It's just hilarious. Unbelievable story, his life.
Great.
Oh my God, yeah. Anyway, moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
Do you have nostalgia for pinball, or is it something you got into later life? Because I have no nostalgia for pinball. I don't remember any pinballs when I was a kid, and that might have just been my location and the fact that video games was just such a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's what we were playing.
Yeah. You know, Alex, I'm going to answer this in really the same way that you just described it, because I have no nostalgia for pinball whatsoever. None. Zero. None. I mean, I didn't play as a kid. I mean, I was, when my brother and I were going to the arcades, you know, we would see pinball machines at the arcades, but we didn't have any interest in that. Neither one of us did. I mean, we played Donkey Kong and Centipede and Asteroids and Miss Pac-Man and, you know, and just, you know, all of that, Burger Time, Frogger, all of that stuff. Just, you know, Robotron, Defender, loved it all. Zookeeper, Food Fight, yeah, all that. And I had zero interest in the pinball machines because I was fascinated by what was going on that CRT in that video game and how they were making that magic happen on a television screen.
Mm-hmm.
To me, when I looked at the pinball machines, it was boring because it's like, oh, that's just batting a ball around. There's no way that has the complexity of what I'm seeing happening on the screen in Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because it was new technology, wasn't it? Video games. Yeah. It was exciting. Mm-hmm. A lot of the games we'd never seen before. They were constantly evolving, getting better graphics, better sound. It was almost, I mean, I always describe the 80s for us growing up with video games was like the rock and roll for my mum and dad in the 60s. It was exciting. It was new. The sound was new.
Yeah.
You know, and for us, that's what made the 80s so special.
It is. It is because we live through a revolution, you know, a technology and an entertainment revolution is what we got to live through. And it was, I mean, we were a part of history as it was unfolding in that regard from a video game perspective. But, you know, as far as pinball goes, you know, I didn't get into it until later in life. I mean, we got our first machine back in 2012 as AC/DC, and we've grown the collection since then, you know, a fair bit. But, you know, I really became a fan of pinball once I saw how the technology and the complexity of the ruling and the gameplay had come along, because, you know, when I saw AC/DC from Stern in 2012 and how it was nowhere near like what I remembered from the 80s, then I thought, okay, there's something here. There's something that I think I can get into. And honestly, I love the fact that it was still being manufactured and still being developed, and it was still maturing. And, you know, I mean, man, if you look at, you know, like Shaun, you mentioned Godzilla. If you take a Godzilla pinball machine and stand it next to like an AC/DC from 2012, you can see what a decade of technology advancements and let's say finesse in design and execution has brought along. And I dearly love pinball. I really do, but it's modern pinball. I can't go back and play the 70s and the 80s machines and get any. Honestly, they're novel to bat around, but I just have no nostalgia for it, and I think because I'm just so steeped into technology from a personal as well as a professional perspective, that's what really appeals to me about pinball now. It's that melding of technology and physics. There wouldn't have been enough there back in the 80s for me to be interested in it, quite honestly. And I don't mean to insult anybody. I'm not. I'm not belittling anything. I'm just telling the truth from my perspective. Yeah.
I have nostalgia for it because I sort of picked it up in the early 90s when they were in every pub.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was the era of like Dracula and Whitewater and Getaway and Addams Family. They were all that kind of era, early 90s, Star Wars, all that kind of era that I got well into the pinball because they were in every pub where I went to. So I'll go into a pub specifically to play that game.
Okay.
There was a renaissance, especially in the UK, of pinball at that time. And I still got like nostalgia, like playing them at the Pin Fest, like playing them old games again. Yeah, it's but playing the new games that flow, not quicker, they just flow better. They're better designed, I think. They're brighter. They're just like Foo Fighters is amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. It's such a good game.
And I don't even like Foo Fighters. And the music comes on. I'm like, yeah, and you can pick the music in a little van at the start and stuff. And yeah, it's Anyway. We're gonna, what's next? Have we done is pinball keeping the arcades alive today? Have we done that one?
No, I think that one's next, isn't it?
Right, yes. Is pinball keeping the arcades alive today? I think go on.
I think so. Shaun, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I mean, what's your perspective on it? Do you think they are?
I think it's part and parcel. I think like the family entertainment centres, as they call them now, and the arcade clubs in the UK are getting more like it. You have got a load of pinballs, you have got a load of arcade games, you've got like a Minecraft section, you've got a Fortnite section, you've got skee ball, you've got pool, you've got hoops, and pinball is part of that. So yeah, it's definitely a big part of it because people play. There's a line in Arcade Club Bury of 26 pinballs. And they are so hard to keep going well because they're on for like 40 hours a week. Mm-hmm. And it's just so hard to maintain them. But they keep on top of it mostly, but it's just so hard to do it. And there's a few in the other, but yeah, it's like you call it a family entertainment centre, don't you, in America, FEC, like the Dave and Buster's and stuff.
Yeah,
Dave
and Buster's
I think it's all part and parcel now. The video games, this is a bit bad to say, but the older games, the younger people see a bit of novelty in them, but don't play them.
But don't play them.
Like people still love Donkey Kong and Miss Pac-Man, and Galaga still gets played a lot. But when you go onto that top floor, the kids are playing the gun games and the driving games. They never get old, like Point Blank and Sega Rally and Outrun and House of the So it's the stick games. I think when we sort of get too old to get upstairs and stuff, which is not going to be far off.
They'd be like the old penny arcades that we look at, the old Victorian stuff.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point.
Because they're like my lad's grown up with like these first-person shooters that have unlockables and 27 things to do and speed and online.
You say that though. I mean, you know, I had kids coming in the museum and they were like, some of them just fixated on one particular game. I had one kid who just played Tempest non-stop the whole time for 2 hours non-stop.
Wow.
You know, but fixated on one game, just wanted to do better and better. I mean, kids do like the old stuff. I don't know. I think it's how you present it to them. You know, maybe it's an education. It's something that they take in a little bit more. You know, but you say it keeps it if it keeps the arcades alive, then maybe, and I've been pushing and saying this for ages, they should start putting them back into pubs, pinball machines, pool tables, arcade games, because the pubs in the UK are on the decline, and it is a disgrace that they're on the decline because it is part of our culture. And you go to pubs now, it's so expensive, and there's nothing in there. It's like, why would you leave your house to go to a pub to drink a pint that's so expensive and they've got nothing in there but tables and chairs?
Yeah.
You go somewhere for a different experience, you know, an atmosphere, to play a game or, you know, socialise. But the pubs are dead. And I think if that's the case, it is keeping the arcades alive. They should bring them into the pubs. There's my rant for the night.
Yeah, there is that.
quite
There is
strongly
that.
about it.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I mean, it's the same over here in the States. I mean, Shaun, you mentioned Donkey Kong and stuff like that, and I wish that the classic arcades that we all know and love, I wish that they had the pull to bring that generation or new generations in, but you're right. I think they look at them as novel, and to your point, Alex, that there will be people that will give the time to a specific game. You know, they'll really see that there's merit in the older games, but as a society or a population, no way. You know, the older games just kind of round out the experience, but they're not the primary part of it. And I think the cross-generational appeal of pinball, plus the fact that it being themed in contemporary and identifiable.
It's pick up and play, isn't it?
Yeah,
Pinball's so easy. Pick up and play.
Pick up and play. It's just pick up and play, you know?
Whereas, you know, Defender's not a pick up and play game, is it?
No, it's not.
Rescue isn't. You know,
no, they're not anything easy. But. Yeah. It's anything but.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Top 5 favourite pinball machines, briefly, Whitney.
Okay, all right. Number 1, Scott Denise's Total Nuclear Annihilation by a mile. I absolutely adore that game. Number 2 would be Godzilla by Stern. So, Shaun, what you mentioned, it's a modern day masterpiece, at least in my mind. Godzilla is just so good. Number 3 is Star Trek by Stern. It's a Steve Ritchie game. Yep, absolutely love it. Number 4 is also a Steve Ritchie game, Black Knight Sword of Rage. It is metal, and that game is so intense. I mean, you literally need to go sit down in front of an air conditioner after you play that game. It is, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah, you get the Black Knight topper on the top of it, and he's like rotating around, and he'll even taunt you while you're playing the game. I mean, he'll like, you know, tell you that you're horrible and stuff like that. That game is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Number 5, I would say it's a tie between Batman 66 and, you know, that's themed on the older campier Batman TV show, and then Tron, both by Stern. And then I'll give an honorable mention to Getaway, which is High Speed 2 from Williams. That's a 90s solid state game, but oh man, it is good. It is really, really good. So that's where I'm at. But you can tell by looking at the list, you know, my top 5 or 6, if you want to look at it that way, those are all new modern games. You know, and it's just a reflection of what I've played.
And so one final question. If you had to choose, video games or pinball, what would you choose? Remember, this is 10 pence arcade video games. Just remember.
I know.
No, it's pinball. It's pinball as well.
You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to say if I had to choose one, I'm going to choose pinball, because my family will play it with me, and it's easier to get more people to play. But that being said, I've got a whole house full of arcade games, and they're not going anywhere. So just to take that for what it is. So, and I'm dreaming about building a Robotron Cabaret. So my answer is what I said, but read between the lines on the answer too.
Yeah.
Well, I've been thinking about getting a pinball, Whitney.
Woo, yes, sir.
Yeah, Dolly Parton.
Oh my goodness! Oh boy.
I'm a huge fan of her music, and I think it would make a nice addition to my arcade. So I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions about pinball before I purchase.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if my eyesight's got worse as I've got older, but it's got some quite big big flippers? Are they? Are they
Yeah.
standard? Are they standard flippers on a Dolly Parton pinball?
Yes, yeah. We're gonna have to go with the answer. Yes, they are. Yeah, they're standard.
And
Yes.
it's got quite large the back glass is quite large, isn't it? Is this a holographic back glass? Because it kind of makes me a bit giddy looking at it all.
And I would say that the artists that drew that, they accomplished their mission, is what they did. So,
I like it. I like it a lot.
Holographic, I don't know, but it's a beautiful back glass.
Yeah.
And it paints her in a great light. How about that?
And the special features, Whitney. It's got some great special features. You know, the multi-ball and a hit song, Here You Come Again. It's such a great pinball. I'm going to have to purchase this, don't you think?
You know something? I don't see how it would be a bad purchase. And one thing I'll say is that here in the States, we consider Dolly Parton a national treasure.
Oh.
And she is fantastic. And did you know, guys, that
she's from Kentucky?
Yes, she is. Yes, she is from Kentucky. Yes. And did you all know that she has released, I think it's with her sister, a brand new cookbook called Good Looking Cooking, and it's full of recipes from the Parton family. And so I don't have the cookbook, but I just saw it listed for sale about a week ago. And so she's a woman of many talents, no doubt about it. But again, a national treasure.
I'll get it for the front cover.
I'm sure that it will give you many hours of enjoyment.
Right, biscuit review.
Biscuit review. Biscuit review. I don't know about you. Biscuit review.
This one is a bit disappointing. It is Hill's Strawberry Custard Creams.
Oh my God.
They're a bit flaky. They
look cheap and nasty.
Yeah, they're gopping. Gopping is a UK word. Well, I think it might be just
gopping.
Gopping.
What does that mean? Can you define that for me?
Awful, terrible, minging. Do you know what minging?
Okay, got it.
The taste was horrible, and then I put them in my custard cream barrel with the normal custard creams, and they killed the flavour of the normal custard creams. What are they doing?
Not only are they bad, but they ruin everything else.
Yeah, they're gopping. I threw them away. Anyway, so yeah, don't have them, kids.
Ooh,
What's that? What is that? Alex,
chocolate eclair.
Is it?
Chocolate eclair.
It looks like something fell out of the back of it. No, what's it?
out of a dog's bottom.
Yeah. What is it?
It's just... Oh my God, I got chocolate all over the laptop.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
I was eating the chocolate. This is the cake section.
God.
We need video for this.
Do you remember I did your gaming tour, Whitney?
It looks so good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, I can't hear you. Oh my God, what's happened?
Oh, you probably.
There you go. You're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Okay, good.
I did a gaming tour of Whitney's, and his good wife Jackie gave me a cake, and I forgot to take the flags out of the top. I thought they were edible.
Yes.
And they weren't. They were plastic.
Yes.
And I bit really hard down on them, didn't I?
Yeah. It was so funny, but but I felt so bad, all at the same time.
So it's in the roof of your mouth.
Yes.
Oh.
It had to hurt.
That was great.
Go get that.
Carry on.
Feedback.
Listener feedback.
We've got your feedback, Whitney. Are you okay reading this out? Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Have at it.
So this is from Whitney himself a couple of weeks ago. So, chaps, I just wanted to let you know that I've thoroughly enjoyed both of your episodes of the new podcast. I laughed out loud at several points during both shows, and that led me to make a few mental notes I'd like to get more info on. Alex mentioned the arcade hand while you were talking about Ghosts and Goblins and Black Tiger. That cracked me up. I need to know more about it. I sent you a little skit, as you call it, didn't I?
Yeah.
The arcade hand.
Yeah, it explained a lot. Thank you.
I've always liked playing games in the arcade. You know, Galaxian, Pac-Man, Space Invaders. But one day I've been playing Cuba for about an hour. I was doing really well. I'm sure I got the house high when it happened. My right wrist locked up. I knew straight away it was arcade hand. I've had fire button finger injuries before, but arcade hand meant that I couldn't play for months. So I called Arcade Injuries Direct. They worked really hard fighting my case, and I was awarded a massive bag of 10 pences. Arcade Dave is glad he chose Arcade Injuries Direct. Right now we're busy helping 16 players get arcade justice. Remember, if your claim is unsuccessful, it won't cost you a credit. If you've been injured in an arcade accident that wasn't your fault, that happened in an arcade, a pizza joint, or at a pub from 1984, give Arcade Injuries Direct a call, and we'll get those credits out of the coin box for you.
Arcade Claims Direct will take 89% of all claims and spend it on biscuits. Your statutory rights will not be affected. Probably.
If you ever need an American accent to sub into it, let me know, and I'll be your stand-in. The Bruce Lee bit was hilarious,
Yeah.
and Alex needing an American voice in it. You did good with your, though, Shaun. We need more skits like this. And perhaps the thing that made me laugh out most is the incorrect announcer. He is solid gold. Yeah, he's not cheap. He's not cheap. Keep up the great work. Yeah, thanks, mate. Thank you.
I appreciate what you guys are doing. Solid, good fun.
Thomas Lebuck. Hello, enjoying the new podcast. You may recall I have written in before with some tales of my father's arcade from back in the 80s. It crossed my mind that you may like a little review of a relatively new retro arcade which has opened this year in Great Yarmouth. My son and I tend to visit Yarmouth at least once a year, and he gets bored of visiting all the seafront arcades only to hear me moan about the complete lack of retro content. This year was different. Having read about the new retro room, we made sure we paid a visit. There's a link there. I've attached some pictures of the highlights, including my son playing the track and field, of which he got rather obsessed with. Don't blame me, it's a cracking game. The cabinet takes tokens, 1 token per game, which can be purchased at a reasonable rate of £20 for 30 tokens. Quite nice dropping a coin in and hearing those familiar credit sounds. Some nice dedicated cabs and a few jammer cabs, including a aforementioned track and field, Defender, Gallagher, Championship Sprint, Ghosts and Goblins, Joust, just to mention a few. All sitting next to a penny arcade with some electromechanical wonders too. Well worth a visit if you're in the local area. It does look very cool.
He sent us about 8 or 9 pictures. I've put them on the website. But the penny arcade is really interesting that's next to it. There's one picture there he's got. That'd be really interesting to see, wouldn't it? The penny arcade. Look at them old ancient things. That driving game is probably the car will be on some kind of stick that moves it backwards and forwards. Yeah.
Well, it makes you wonder whether those were just as popular as like Donkey Kong back in. No, they weren't, were they? Because you would know how many were sold. I mean, Donkey Kong sold over 80,000 cabinets, I believe. I don't think.
Just nuts.
Yeah, I don't think these penny arcades would have done the same. But they would have been popular, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And fun.
Bobby Eardod said, "Dude, don't apologise for covering pinballs because Vic's having to go at me. On your Arcade Focus YouTube channel, they were the backbone of arcades for decades before video games were even invented. Great video, by the way. Do more pins." Oh, I did a Pin Fest video. I forgot to tell you that. I did a video at Pin Fest. I might have said that last time. 7 letters, lots of fun. PINFEST, fun.
Aidan Stones. Aid Skyway 73.
Yeah.
Hello, chaps. So glad that the podcast has been able to continue after Vic stepped down. Where would we be without the monthly fix of arcade chat and nonsense, hey? A few years back, when we had John's Arcade uploading videos and game room tours from Alex, that was pretty much all I would watch on YouTube. As mentioned, I had the pleasure of meeting him at his brother's wedding. This was my brother's wedding. My wife said to me, "You won't believe it. There's this bloke you always watch on YouTube, and he's here." And I said, "Who?" She said, "You know, that cream cake man." Oh, God, I'm remembered as a cream cake man.
You're
That
known
still
far
makes
and
me
wide,
laugh.
Alex. Far and
Sorry,
wide.
Whitney?
I said you're known far and wide.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, I hadn't really played Year Kung Fu before. I'd played Kung Fu Master and Karate Champ in the arcades, and I have to say I prefer them both. I did work out a few moves and strategies, but I still felt a bit hit and miss and had to rely on luck too much for my liking. Sorry, Alex, I know this is your favourite. My score is on Arcade Sidekicks. Cheers.
Retro Russ, great pickup. Great pick, Alex, by choosing Yeah Kung Fu. Literal translation is 1-2 Kung Fu. Ooh, that could be a song. One of my favourite arcade games because I first played it with my twin brother on a caravan holiday in a pub outside. Did you get caravan holidays, Whitney? Did you get them? We have like weird. No. We have them weird sort of.
No, a caravan holiday. What would that be? Can you describe it?
Trailer park.
Yeah.
Trailer park holidays.
Oh yeah. Well, not holidays. I mean, we have trailer parks over here, but what would be a trailer park holiday?
Well, you know, like you have caravans, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you take the caravan to a field where there's other caravans?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. So
they just stand around.
Sounds really bad, doesn't it?
Yeah. No. I just have to get a mental picture.
And that's bolted onto it's an entertainment complex, you know. So you get out your caravan, you walk over to a pub or a bar, and that.
I got it. So yes, that does happen here. I just don't partake. So, but yeah.
Good idea. Caravan holiday pub just outside the campsite in Morton, Dorset, in 1986. Great fun for us 10-year-olds as crowds of youngsters begged parents for 10p's to go and give Boo-Chew some kicks in belly. It's the only arcade fight game I play, as none of the others interest me. Love the simplicity of the game and the different martial arts styles of the opponents. Interesting to hear that Alex has a PCB board. Was it ever a dedicated cab, or was it a kit?
Over here, I would imagine it was just a board in a jammer cab. That's what I played it on. But I have seen pictures, probably in the United States. You probably know better than me, Whitney. I think they did have kits for this game, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember seeing it. Yeah, I remember seeing it. Yep.
Yeah.
Looking back, we played this at a pub, and it was probably in an ISIS Sub-Electra, as I recall, fake wooden effects side panels. Cheers, guys. And he was also wondering when Al's Arcade is going live. You've got the site up, haven't you?
I haven't put a video up yet. I noticed you subscribed today. Thank you, Whitney.
Yes, sir.
I did.
Yep.
I went to Gab's meet yesterday. Got there really early, and I filmed his whole game room. So that would be probably my first video in a couple of weeks' time. Hopefully, that will be up on my new channel.
We've also got a tweet from Funk, who's said, how many 10pences will be interested in one of these? And it's a small little arcade stick, like one of these little controllers, done in the style of international karate. So I think you can put like a screen in the back of it or something. But them things, that they are... Can you see it, Whitney? They're small, and I don't think the stick's the right...
It looks a bit small. I think my hand would be half on that T-moulding.
I think it's more of a novelty.
I
think it'd be really hard to play.
Yeah.
I think so as well. I like the fact that it is... that it looks as professional as it does, but I don't see how I would actually use it, quite honestly. It seems like it would just hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one, you see, this is great. It's from He Is Jimmy, I Am Jimmy. And it's a Bruce Lee clock, right? So you just imagine you'd have to click on the GIF on the site.
Yeah.
But his legs move round. So,
it's awesome.
So the long leg is I think it's the minutes, and his other leg is the hours. So it's like he's doing a kick all the way around the clock.
So when it's 12 o'clock, then both legs above his head.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
How does that work?
Don't know. Be covering his face.
Surely he should have an arm and a hand as the little arm.
Yeah.
He should balance him, shouldn't he? But it's Bruce
I don't know
Lee.
if you were winding that and that was all moving real fast, it would look like he was doing a scene from Jim Cotta.
Right, we're on to featured game review.
Feature game review.
Have you played this? Whitney, yeah, Kung Fu. Have you played it?
I have played it. Now, I didn't get an opportunity to play or submit a score, but I have played the game. I know the game. I'm familiar with the game. Yeah.
Right. Go on, Alex. It's your terrible choice. It's your choice. Sorry.
Terrible. Well, it is.
Sorry. I'll edit that out. Yeah, go on.
It's not terrible, Shaun. It's a great game. It's the year of 1985, January to be exact, when Konami releases one of their first fighting games, Year Kung Fu, an 8-way. It uses an 8-way joystick and 2 buttons for jump and kick. Now, before we start this game, I thought we'd introduce sort of, just to get you an idea or some nostalgia of that year, 1985, what kind of music you were listening to. Do you remember what music we listened to in January 1985, guys? Because for me, it would have been Ultravox. That was the album I bought in 1985. It was the collection of music from Ultravox. And I would have been listening to that on my Sony Walkman, on my BMX, on my way down to the arcade.
That was a good song, Vienna, weren't it? What was it about?
It was.
Probably Vienna. Yeah, me, Mantronics, the album. I was into like the electro, and this is. It doesn't say what month it was released in because it never charted in the UK, but it was, for me, it was groundbreaking. It was really good hip hop. A decent rapping, very clever beats, and you know our song has a bridge, like a bridge in a chorus and a bridge, you know, which is like a bit. Well, Mantronics always put sliced up beats in his bridge, like slicing, really sort of complicated reversing, well ahead of his time, and it was very rhythmic, and it blew my mind. I thought, God, it's just amazing, and that is what I really loved. Even when he did like remixes of somebody, I would buy the vinyl because there'll be a Mantronics remix on, because I know he would have gone bonkers in the bridge and just chopped up all the beats and sliced them. And that is what I really got me about it. So rhythmic, and you know, I still like that in music now, like the syncopated beats. That's why I got into like things like drum and bass and stuff like that. But yeah, that was it. Oh yeah, that was it.
1985.
1985.
You weren't really into chart music.
No, I didn't listen to any pop music at all. Really, I just
strange man.
Yeah,
wow.
I like the electro stuff. You know, it was called hip hop electro before it was called hip hop, wasn't it? And I liked it. Then I went on to house music, and then I went on to drum and bass and techno. I just didn't like pop music. Didn't interest me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because here in the States, like the electro, you know, like the EDM scene, and a lot of what you're talking about, Shaun, I was just never exposed to that, you know, growing up through the 80s, and you know, I think about, you know, I think about, you know, the music that we listened to here in the States. A lot of it was, you know, classic, like quote unquote classic rock, and then of course, you know, the chart music, you know, Madonna and, you know, Whitney Houston and all that. But you know, I'm thinking about myself. It's like, you know, Tears for Fears. I really like them. You know, they were big right about that time. Dire Straits was big right about that time.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, the Beastie Boys had been on the scene for a year or two, riding a wave of just massive popularity over here.
I've seen them. I've seen them live. We've run DMC in London, Brixton. Yeah.
Oh
brilliant.
my gosh, yeah. Well, color me jealous, man. I absolutely love the Beastie Boys, but yeah, I mean, I didn't really get into what you're talking about, Shaun, until much later in life, and now I thoroughly enjoy it. You know, thoroughly enjoy it. That's the reason why I want to hear some of your loops.
Yeah, I'll send them to you. Send them the best stuff.
Yeah,
beep. Some go beep. Some go beep. Beep.
Well, that is cool, guys. I mean, that just sort of gets us in sort of the era that we're talking about, 1985, the year that Year Kung Fu was released. It is a fighting game, which I think was inspired by the mixed martial artist Bruce Lee, who was the first Chinese film star to have a Hollywood blockbuster film, Enter the Dragon, which was a joint collaboration with Golden Harvest Studios, which was a Chinese studio. Data East, who previously had a hit with Karate Champ the previous year. So I think Konami took inspiration from Bruce Lee and Data East's game, Karate Champ, to create this new fighting game, which none of us kids had seen before. It was, you know, quite exciting to play. But unlike Karate Champ, which used 2 joysticks to control movement and attack direction, Year Kung Fu opted for the 1 joystick and 2 buttons. The main character, who is a spitting image of Bruce Lee, goes by the name of Oolong, who is attempting to become the Grand Master of Kung Fu in honor of his father, who was killed in the final battle of his mastership. You must defeat 11 opponents who are also skilled in the art of Kung Fu to become the Grand Master. Each opponent that you face has different skill sets and weapons, but you have 16 different move sets which you can use by holding down either the punch or kick button and moving the joystick in 8 directions. Health is shown by using a KO bar at the top of the screen, which I believe was the first game to use this and has been used ever since as a standard for most fighting games ever since, which is quite revolutionary, I think. Your opponents are grouped into 2 tiers, with the first one featuring 5 opponents titled Hot Fighting History, and the second tier called Master Hand History, which includes 6 more difficult enemies. You're awarded extra lives at 30,000 and 80,000 points thereafter, and bonus points for your remaining health in the KO bar. Points are given depending on the type of attack you use. So you can earn between 500 to 2,000 points, depending on how quick you can be with the controls. You should manage to defeat if you manage to defeat an opponent without taking any damage, you will earn the perfect 10,000 point bonus. And that bonus increases by 10,000 every perfect win you pull off. The opponent stages, stage 1 is Buchu, big fat guy who just dives at you. He's fairly easy. Middle roundhouse kicks to the stomach. As soon as he settles down on either side of you, you can finish him fairly quickly. Stage 2, Star, my favourite. Right after she throws the shuriken, jump towards her, and if you do it right, you should be able to deliver a few punches and destroy her fairly quickly. Stage 3, Nuncha. Watch for when Nuncha starts to spin his nunchucks. This means he is preparing to take a shot. Back up, let him advance, and then jump over him. He will then take his shot, but be careful when he takes his aim, because he can go high, mid-level, and low. Once he takes his shot, quickly jump over him to get a punch or kick in. Beware though, he can block a couple of your moves with the nunchakus. Stage 4, not too bad this one. I didn't struggle too badly with this one. He's another one of those opponents who is very quick. If you're not careful, he tends to move around a lot. He will start spinning his pole over his head. And if Oolong gets too close, pole will take a couple of shots at him. Your best offensive is to jump to a position you believe the pole will be at, since he moves around a lot. Stage 5, Feedle. This is a weird one. I couldn't get this down, Feedle. I was trying to get a perfect. I think I've got a perfect once with Feedle, and they're fairly easy to kill. It's a series of opponents that it's like a bonus stage, but you just have to keep killing them, and I think you have to defeat around about 10 of them to get off to that next level. But if you can defeat them all and get a perfect, you get a huge bonus. Stage 6, Chain. Now the fun really starts, I guess, because this gets quite difficult. He's pretty hard, this guy. Chain starts off by swinging his chain at Oolong. It has a limited range, and it can be aimed high, mid-level, and low. The bad part about this is when the chain is returning back to him, and you've jumped up and back down again, you can still get hit by the chain on its return. So quite a difficult one, quite a difficult opponent to take on. Club, I find Club really frustrating. With Club, really, you've got to go with a lot of low kicks, because mid kicks you're just going to hit his shield. So quite a difficult one. Stage 8, Fan. Didn't have any problems with this, so she will throw it's 3 fans. Once she's thrown all 3, make you jump in, loads of close combat fighting, and you should be able to take her out no problem. Sword, one of the quicker opponents. He has a tendency to hit and then run. So again, you've got to be really quick. Loads of jumping around on this one, but you should be able to get him eventually. Stage 10, probably one of the hardest opponents, Tom Thumb. I call him No Fun, because he is no fun at all. He's rock hard. And really, I found it pot luck just defeating him. I cannot work this guy out. I managed to defeat him once for this challenge, and finally got to stage 11, Blues, which is the end of level boss, the master, but I never defeated him. This guy was rock hard as well. But I'm glad to say, since playing this game for the podcast, I've got to the furthest stage I've ever got to playing it, which was stage 11, the last boss. So, before we conclude, let's get a look at the scores, Shaun.
What did you think of it, Whitney, by the way? Did you...
I mean, it's been a while since I've played it. I mean, I've always liked it, and I've never passed it up, but it's never been a top-tier game for me. I guess is probably the better way to say it. So I'm definitely going to try to submit some scores at some point in the future for you guys, because I think it'd be a great way for me to kind of force myself to stop and play, which would be good. But I've always liked the game.
Well, I just can't gel with it. I give it an hour. I always say I'll give a game an hour. Even if I hate it, I'll make myself play it for an hour, and if it's not sticking after then,
torture.
Yeah, torture, and I just could not stand. It's just, I don't know what. I've tried it loads of times because I like the feel of it, and I like the little arrow below him, which sort of tells you where you're leaping and that. But I just kept leaping and punching, and I watched a YouTube video where someone did the whole game in like 4.5 minutes. You sent that to me, didn't you, Alex? I'll put it in the show notes.
We got perfects.
Yeah.
All the way through.
Wow.
So it can be done, just working out the moves.
Yeah, but I could not be bothered to work out the moves. It's just, oh no, mate. No, it's a no for me.
Okay,
that is why I've never been at the bottom of this score table ever, but I am.
High score countdown.
With 25,900. And that is 2 games. I think I got to the second person. And then,
wow.
Yeah, she's just did me head in. Was it Lady, the second one? I can't even remember.
Star, wasn't it? Yeah, Lady.
Yeah.
You got to her. That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Pathetic.
I know.
Pathetic. You couldn't beat a lady.
25,900, and I struggled to get that. I thought, God, it's just not. I've tried it loads of times over the year because I like the feel of it. I like the way he jumps. Is there another one? Is it Ninja Spirit with the guy with a massive jump? Is it Ninja Spirit?
Yeah.
I like the way he jumps in that. But as soon as you go in for a kick, they just batter you.
Well, I was going to say, if you haven't got any nostalgia, it's probably going to be a difficult game to get into. But you say that, you put games on this podcast that I've got no nostalgia for and I've got into. So it's not that. It's just, it is a very early fighting game. And, it's basic. It hasn't got the skill sets of, Samurai Showdown, Street Fighter, but it's got its place in history. It's done a few firsts, the KO bar, the move sets, having a joystick and buttons instead of, there was no other game like it,
Karate Champ had 2 sticks, didn't it, for the...
Yeah, but it was sluggish, it was slow. I know Vic likes that game, but that reminds me more of International Karate or Way of the Exploding Fist.
Yeah.
Which were good games, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed them in their day. But for an arcade game, I think it needs to be a bit quicker. Kung Fu had speed.
It did have speed, and I love the character movements on Kung Fu. I think it's a little fantastic, but it lends to, I guess, some of the enjoyment of just watching it and playing it. Definitely superior to Karate Champ, in my opinion, no doubt. Yeah.
So Mr. Messi with 28,200. Kung Fu, as Bruce Lee once said, kick 'em right in the face. Could this be considered a decent cousin of Street Fighter 2? I'd say yes. And for that reason, with regret, you're fired.
Yeah, The Apprentice. Retro Rex, 50,200.
Adam Flint, 59,400. Being a Taekwondo man myself, hearing Alex Karate Tales and Shaun's Krav Maga. Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Misadventures got me wondering whether all middle-aged retro gamers have a secret martial arts pastimes. Was Vic keeping quiet about judo? A mystery. Kung Fu, therefore, seemed like an apt choice of a game this month, but lacking nostalgia, as I've never played it in my youth. Sadly, wasn't one I gelled with. I think I'll stick to sparring in the dojo. Nevertheless, please find my attached high score of 59,000.
Ooh, we're on Zestora now. We're still on the 1 points, so there's a lot of people that beat me by actually playing it. 61,600.
Sal Bug, 62,200. I only tried this game a few times because I couldn't figure out how to skillfully defeat an opponent. It felt too random, like I was just moving and pressing buttons randomly versus winning by skill. But maybe it's just because I suck so much. I think it is too.
He is Jimmy, 64,200. I love Diecade Plus on the C64. One of my favourite ever games. I like that. Did you what was that the one you did a special move in the pants fell down? Yeah, you did a special move and the pants fell down, but I've never clicked with the beat 'em up since. I thought, Kung Fu might do it, but I just don't have the patience to learn the moves. It's me, I like 3 buttons, fire, shield, and smart bomb, something like that. If there's not bullets in the game, I'm a bit concerned. But I just didn't have the patience to learn the moves. So just a token score from me. Well done, Jimmy.
Bill Willem, 73,600.
Johnny B, see you in Blackpool, mate, 76,800.
Sorry, Lewis Wellham, 79,700.
He is Bill Wellham's son.
Oh, okay.
He did really well one year. He was like a 13, 14-year-old lad. He did amazingly well on the scores. Mr. 20 to 5, 96,100. One game. He got this in one game. It also reminds me of why I've never liked this genre. Sorry, guys. It's a hard no from me.
Mark What No Gravy, 104,000.
Cradster, 105,900. One-on-one fighters, not my favourite genre, but I enjoyed the simplicity of this one compared to modern fighters. Yeah, I suppose there is that.
Basil the Sane. Strange name. Lots of button, lot of button bashing. Button mashing. You're mashing your buttons up, boy. Nice sound and graphics for the time. Controls feel a little sticky. Fun in short bursts. Didn't manage to get past club.
I saw him at Nerg, and every time I see him, I say, where'd you get your name from? And he tells me, then I forget.
Oh. Well, that is a very unusual name. It's
Basil
something
Hussein,
you stick with the rest of your life, isn't it?
It's something to do with something, and then something happened, and then he did something. Yeah, that's a good explanation, isn't it? Majok, still on the 1 points, 144, 600. The feeling of Kung Fu is strong in this game, but it's not as good as Karate feeling on the dual stick control of Karate Champ. He likes Karate Champ more.
Deadlock, 150,600. Back from the holidays and had my first go last night. That's not bad for a first go.
John Retro, he does all the PDFs, does Martin Deadlock. Like like he did our PDF, RGDS,
cool.
Retro Asylum. He does them all.
Sweet.
Like I actually use that because it's easier than flicking through the website, which doesn't exist anymore, is it? John Retro Reloader, 151,000.
J Ping Barber. This brings back memories of playing on the excellent MSX version. I loved Kung Fu games like this, but now prefer Kung Fu Sauce.
Kung Fu Sauce. Stacey King, 1 point, 156,400. I couldn't beat Ton Fon or have a perfect round. Not had much time because my dad had an op to remove a tumour, sad, from his bladder. So I have been doing a lot of running around. Hope he's okay, mate.
Oh, yeah, wish him well.
Wow. Yeah, most certainly.
Swiss Liz, 182,200.
One Punch Ron, 184,100. About an hour before the deadline, he's just got this in. I was starting to get the 10p effect from this and hate it. A 10p effect is if you like a game when you start and then you end up hating it. That's called the 10p effect, or vice versa.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hits not registering really bugs me in a fighting game. I still like it though and go back to it. He's like a triple black belt or something, him, in real life.
What, One Punch Ron?
Yeah.
Did you know that Bruce Lee invented the 1-inch punch? So Bruce Lee did the 1-inch punch at Long Beach, California in 1969. And he placed a chair 6 foot away from his opponent. Chuck Norris was there. Chuck Norris was, I think at the time, 7 times world champion. And Bruce Lee did a demonstration. And he hit this guy. His fist was one inch away. And he knocked this guy flying 6 foot into this chair. And it just blew everybody away. And that's how he got to know Chuck Norris. Yeah, and you can find the clip on YouTube.
I think I've seen it, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I did
So
do a
what it's
1-inch
basically
punch.
saying, you didn't need the power like a karate punch. You could just, it was more about technique and twist and
Push.
getting the technique right. You could deliver just as much energy.
God.
Very impressive. Anyway, Ross Frost with 194,800 clunky controls, played with an arcade stick and handheld. I appreciate it's old and do admire the mechanics and inspiration it laid down for the fighters that followed. I'm not a lover of the 2D fighter though, I'm afraid.
Old Man Steve, 203,100.
Dr. Goggles.
Dr. Goggles.
I played this on the C64 and I know Spectrum friends who had it. So for me, this is the 8-bit home game, not an arcade game. Nevertheless, I had quite a bit of fun with it, despite the unrealistic leaping about the place. More leaping than loads of lemurs.
You got 207,200. Chris K-June. K-June, don't look so sad. Yeah. I always sing that when he puts a score in. Luckily, he don't put a score in very often, so I can't sing it. Yeah, K June got 215,100. Yeah, Kung Fu was my favourite game on the Commodore 16 when I was 6. God, what's it going to be like on a Commodore 16? Is it like 4K a RAM or something?
Buttons, 276,700.
Oh, and here's your good self. Good score, that. 2 points, 293,500. Well done.
I'm gutted, though. I'm gutted because there were games when I was playing and I got... It's all about the perfects. If you can get the perfects, you get the bonuses.
Yeah.
And, you know, that game where I got to the last boss, I thought was great. And then I looked up at my score and thought, is that it? It's because I didn't get any perfects. And my KOs, you get the bonus. If your KOs right the way up, you'll get, you know, the bonuses. But they were, you know, I was just scraping through each fight, but I managed to do it.
Yeah.
So I was a bit gutted about that score. I think I can do better.
Well, we're getting to Go on, sorry.
Yeah, so we've got my good friend Nick, Red7. He's a YouTuber over in Dubai and does great content. Does loads of stuff on arcade balls and pickups and stuff like that. He got 303,903 points. Well done, Nick.
Next we have Played in Japan. Good player. 4 points, 310,500. I thought I was on a roll until I got to stage 11 and it took 4 lives off me to get an extra life every 80,000. That's what confused me here. Some technique developing, but mostly still jumping around like a loon, landing and doing some button mashing.
Oh, we've got some love here now. Rygar with 5 points, 340,200. I loved Year Kung Fu back in the day. First saw it at the Harbour Amusements in Loo in 1986. Spent many a happy hour on the C64 version a year after. Got to Ton Fun again. Missed a bonus on rounds 1 and 6, but somehow managed 3 others, including round 8 for a cool 80k. Wow, that's awesome.
Let me get in 6 points. Beanie, new player. 383,600. Might take long time to master this one.
Brilliant.
I see what you did there.
And you look at his score, you look at the picture, and he's done it on an arcade 1-up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so probably
well
one
done.
of them. You can hack them, can't you, and then put your own ROMs in.
Ian Cullen with 7 points, 396,300. I'm sure I've beaten this last guy before, but I'm struggling this time round. I'll have another crack at this before the deadline.
Right, in third place is Retro Russ. He's done really well. 8 points, 408,200. The Art of Fighting Without Fighting. That's Bruce Lee. He's been putting these on Twitter all week. Different quotes from Bruce Lee.
Oh, Mr. Berserker, 9 points, 482,700. 6 lives, and still no success on round 12. Getting silly now. Hang on a minute. So you got to the last boss, and you got that score.
Yeah.
So he must have been getting loads of perfects.
Must have been, yeah. He got 6. He got there with 6 lives. That is.
Yeah.
If you got a life every 80,000, he hadn't lost a life till he got.
He's been getting it, yeah. Because you can. Some of the projectiles that are thrown at you, I can't remember. I think it's fan. You can actually get points for kicking them.
All right.
Points. You can just sit there pressing kick button or punch. And as long as you time it right and you get the projectiles spot on, you'll get points for that. So,
if I would have known that, I would have carried on playing.
Sorry?
If I would have known that, I would have carried on playing.
Oh, yeah. Go on, who's the winner?
Right, the winner is Mr. Aid Skyway with 10 points, 526,300. Had a couple of good runs. If you can somehow string a few perfects together, it shows how much it boosts the old score. Find it hard to be consistent though. Sometimes the game just wants you to lose. That's my problem. It wanted me to lose, so I did. I lost and then left. So thanks for all them scores, a lot there. Thank you, lads.
Yeah, brilliant. Well done, Aid. That's a fantastic score. A lot of love for that game, actually.
Yeah. And the overall standings now, I think, what is it now? We've got October, November, December. So we've got 3 more games possibly this year. Might try and get another one in. Rygar is number 1 first. He's won it the last 3 years, by the way. 69 points. Mr. Berserker, 59 points. He couldn't play Balloon Fight because he couldn't find the correct ROM for Balloon Fight. He could only find the NES ROM, so he couldn't play that one. So I think that's why he's gone down a bit. Aid Skyway, 53 points. Scout Sal Bug, 35 on, and Sal Ross, 23. I'll put all these on the website. He is Jimmy, 22. Mr. 25, 20. Me, 20, 9 points. I've got an average of 2.1 points a game. That's terrible. And then you got Eastwood, 71, and One Punch Ron. In the rear of it, whatever you call it. Yeah, so there's loads of people played that. And I'll put the full score table on the website.
That's great. I'm glad it's popular.
So in conclusion, Mr. Crowley and Mr. Roberts, what do you think of this god-awful game?
Go on, Whitney, you go first.
I mean, as far as do you want me to rate it, or how do you want to go about that?
You can. Yeah, just a conclusion, and then just sort of how many 10p's you would have put in it, or how many quarters out of your, or how many quarters there is in a pound. That's not right, is that?
Well, it'd be 4 because I'll map a pound to $1, so that'd be 4. Yeah. 4 quarters.
Okay, so how many quarters would you put in this game back in the day?
Oh, easily 2 out of 4, and I think that's saying a lot. So for you guys for 10p, that'd be 5 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
But so I would put half of $1 in this playing it. It's certainly not the best game I've ever played, but it's far from the worst, and I like the dynamics of it, and I've just always liked the style of it. So I would play this over and over again compared to Kung Fu Master, no doubt. So
Kung Fu Master, I forgot about that. I really like that one. I've just put 2 10 pences.
2 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah, I really struggled to put an hour into this. Don't like the gameplay, never have done, but I really tried to like it, as it's one of the contest games. I just kept leaping around by accident and instead of performing the moves. I just don't gel with it. I've played over the years. I keep going back to it because it has got a good feel, because you can leap and you can kick and that. But I just, when you get close into someone, it's just you've got a very short kick and a very short punch. It just doesn't feel great to me. But I do like the graphics, nice and crisp and clean. They're like, and the sounds are good as well.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, the sounds are good. Good backgrounds. There's a couple of backgrounds to it. Yeah, the sound effects really get you into the game, I think.
Speech
nice little,
nice
little tune going. There's a nice whack when you hit the opponent.
There is.
That's what you want.
It's almost satisfying, I mean, from that regard. Yeah.
When Bruce Lee always said, karate was like an iron bar, and when it hits, it goes whang. But Kung Fu is like an iron ball with a chain attached to it, and it goes whang, and when it hits, it hurts. I love that. And this game, you can feel the pain, when you're getting hit. So
you can hear it too, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would have put 7 10p's in this game for me. And I saved 30p for another game back in the day. So, yeah, pretty good score, I think. Above average game. Good fun.
I'll put some of these links in the show notes. There's a Year Kung Fu Perfect, which is amazing. And the home and console versions, I won't go through them all, but I looked at them. The ones that stood out for me was the C64 version that looked really good. And the Game Boy Advance, but I think that was it looks like it was an actual port of the arcade ROM, because at that time on the Game Boy Advance they could do that, couldn't they? They could port the ROM. It looked exactly the same. But yeah, so the C64 one I think is really good for an 8-bit conversion. Some of them look really ropey though. They would do,
the ZX Spectrum one was awful, and I remember going to buy it, because it had a lovely Konami box art to it. I've still got it today. You know, the original one that I bought with my paper round money. And I remember getting it home because I loved this game in the arcade. And just being so disappointed. It was such a terrible game on ZX Spectrum. I mean, just no sound effects, you know. Terrible. But, you know, it did leave quite a legacy, this game. They say that, I know this is Vic's favourite game, Kicker. Shaolin's Road is the sequel to Ye Kung Fu.
No,
did you know that?
Yeah.
No, I did not know that.
That is a fantastic game.
It is.
It flows well. It just worlds apart for me.
Yeah.
You jump up and down them platforms, and it's just so. What's the word? The controls just flow really well with it. Yeah.
I've got the ball of that. I need to get that back, but I was really enjoying that because Vic used to go on about it. I think he can't loop it for like hours.
Yeah.
Just go on and on, can't he? He's so good at it.
Wow.
Have you played that one, Whitney?
No, I have not, and I need
to.
I need to go look it up. Yeah.
Yeah, give that a go, mate. Kick-Ass, really good.
Okay.
Konami released another sort of follow-up. I think this is sort of in the sort of 90s, called Martial Champion, and it was going to be titled Ye Kung Fu 2, but I don't know, they changed the name at the last minute. But it's very similar to Street Fighter 2. I think it uses the same characters. And if you've played Sexy Paradius by Konami, Oolong makes an appearance just before you kill one of the bosses at the end, so you fly over him and he's doing all his karate stuff that moves at the bottom, which I think is quite cool. I love when Konami do that. They put little sprites in from older games.
Yeah.
And Oolong makes an appearance on New Track and Field for the Nintendo DS. He's a playable character, although he looks aged somewhat. He looks more like Fu Manchu. With the moustache. But yeah, so a little bit of a legacy there.
But this and Karate Champ were very influential in the development of the one-on-one fighting game. That's my opinion. I think they were really. Right, next show's game.
Next show's game.
No bullets, no kicking, just loads of pushing over fences. This is Rompers, Rompers. It's a cool little maze game, 4-way stick, 1 button. The ROM is Rompers. I can't spell. It's Japan, new version, revision B. It's the default game. The difficulty is default. If you look in the service menu, it's the same. I've checked on Raspberry Pi as well. Type A, flip off, player 3, rank none. We don't need to know all that because it's default. It looks really good. Whoever mentioned Rompers, can you get in touch? Because I can't find who mentioned it. Someone mentioned it like maybe 6 or 7 months back. Said, have you seen this? So it's always been in the back of my mind. There's not a lot in my mind, you know, as you can tell. But yeah, it looks really good. Rompers. Check it out, kids. You've got till the 12th of October, 1700 UK time. Yeah, 5 o'clock UK time, 12th of October. That's like a month-ish from now by the time I've finished editing. And how do you reach us? Have you got anything, Whitney, where they can reach you? It's Broken Token still?
Yeah, for me, it's it's super easy. You can just go to the brokentoken.com website and just do a contact form. That's easy enough. Of course, we maintain Twitter presence, or I guess X, just at Broken Token. That's the podcast X handle. My personal one is just at 8BitWit. I'm on there as well, and we have a Facebook page, just facebook.com/brokentoken as well. So you can send us a chat message there, and be more than happy to engage and reply.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can get us. I've got a link tree now. I told you about this, didn't I? Link tree. It's you said it last month. It's just a tree of links. Like
Zelda?
Yeah. And like that cat.
Sorry?
I've got a tree
Nintendo
outside.
tree.
I've got a tree outside full of them Lynx cats. It's hard to keep pruned. It's a one place where you can put all your links. So I just changed that now. Instead of changing like my email and my Facebook and my Twitter and my YouTube, I just changed this link tree, and then everything's on there. But on this occasion, Twitter 10p score. This is where you can put your scores, by the way. Sidekick app, much recommended, in the 10pence club section. Email biscuits at 10pencearcade.com. Biscuits. Facebook, facebook.com/10pencearcade. There's a comment on the podcast post. UKVAC, which is the UK Video Arcade Collectors Forum. And a really quick camel. Put it on the back of a camel. Put it in a taxi. Right, put something in a taxi. Write a note. This is my score. Get it in a taxi. Get it over to me.
A pigeon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything. Anyway.
Ninja.
Ninja. Oh, ninjas are always good.
They're good at delivering their high scores, aren't they? Yeah, sorry about that, kids. Right, so thank you for listening, and thank you for joining us, Whitney. It's been really brilliant, and we really do appreciate it.
Oh, I had a load of fun. Thank you guys for allowing me to hang with you through the whole thing. So I appreciate it.
Oh, mate, it's great listening to, you know, your side of the pinball and what you think of it and stuff like that, because space is premium over here in the UK, and if I had the space, I'll tell you, buddy, I would have a pinball.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, you know, your spin on it stateside, because I know that's where they're made. You know, they're made, still made in Chicago, aren't they?
Still made in, yeah. Most all of them are made in either Chicago, predominantly Chicago. There's a few others like in Wisconsin that's spooky, and Texas, and sprinkled around, but Chicago is the heart of it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Atari made a couple of pins, didn't they?
They did. They made a few pins. Yeah, I never liked them. They were wide bodies, and I just never. Yeah.
Hercules. Was that one?
But you
Hercules, Superman.
Yeah. You must be quite proud of the fact that it's got the Stars and Stripes on a lot of these pinballs. They're made in the USA.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see, because there's not a lot of easily identifiable pieces of machinery that are made in the USA anymore. And something like a pinball machine where it's easy enough to move around, and it's not difficult to get from one place to the next or anything like that. And it does. It's got the Stars and Stripes on it, so that's very nice. I mean, for me, it does. It makes me feel good, just like you guys, when you see something with Union Jack on it, for sure. It's just like, I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the Triumph motorcycles. When
there
I see
you go.
them,
Yeah.
I think I'm proud. They make most in house still, and it's just fantastic to see. The name still being flown on the British flag. And
and that's honestly that's how that's how I wish more things were that way.
Yeah. Well, mate, it's awesome. I don't know. Is there any British-made pinballs? I don't think so. Is there?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. What was that one I played at the show? It was the David Bowie one.
Labyrinth. Yeah, that got. There's always people queuing up for that. Who did that? Oh God, who did it?
Who did that? Because I was chatting. I did an interview with the guy who did the voiceover.
Yeah, Labyrinth was a company called Barrels of Fun, I believe.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're American as well.
They are American as well. I say that. Let me verify that and make sure I believe that they are.
But that was a good pin. I enjoyed playing that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I've heard nothing. I've not played it, but I've heard nothing but great things about them. From that regard.
Is that's their first pin, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it sure is. Yep.
Wow.
It's I played it.
Yeah. Okay. Barrels of Fun. They're in Houston, Texas. I just found it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So American made. So.
Sweet. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on. I hope you return to your podcast very soon.
Thank you. Yeah. I hope we're able to as well. So something Britt and I just need to sit down and talk about. it's not fair for me to say something without talking to him. So
Yeah.
that's just something we got to
Sure.
talk through. So yeah.
Well, say hi to Brent for us.
I will
Hope
do
he's doing
it.
all right.
Yeah, I will do it. Yep, he's doing good. So I'll make sure to pass along. But no, thank you guys for having me on. I mean, it was great fun. Appreciated the banter and the discussion. It's great. So
Our strange English sense of humour.
I love it. I absolutely love it. The only thing is, Alex, I want to see pictures of that Dolly Parton once you got it.
Yeah, and if you're going to see the guys at Stern, have you been to the factory at Stern? Tell them to do the Benny Hill Show pinball. That's what we want to see. Right?
Okay, got it.
With the slapping the ball guy on the head, and all the Hills Angels running around the playing field.
Yeah. Oh, it would
That's
be
what we
great.
want.
I'll tell them that it's an untapped market. How about that?
Yeah. All right, dude.
All right, guys. You all have a good one. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Cheers, Whitney.
Yeah.
And
Cheers.
thanks everybody for listening.
Thank you for listening, kids. Catch you next time.
Yeah,
All right.
get those scores in.